there, strong people. Welcome back to the video. It's been a while. In today's video, we are going to talk about starting to cob this outer building in the corridor, the paddock, and we're also going to talk about, can you, as a homesteader, once in a while, leave and avoid burnout?
Welcome back to our channel. If you're new, I'm Carrie, this is Doug, and we are off-grid homesteading in southeast Arizona. We're building a homestead from the ground up. We're building everything basically out of dirt and rocks. So we're learning a lot as we go, and we hope you follow along and you can learn from us as well. So you might find, if you decide to pursue this type of a lifestyle, that you might have a lot of reasons for needing to take a break from your homestead. Sometimes you just need a vacation. Sometimes you just need a change of scenery. You can get burned out doing this. It's really easy, especially if you have a mindset like Doug and I do. It's really easy to get caught up in the homesteading and really wanting to do it like every day, all the time in your spare time. And that's really a tempting thing to do, but it's really important that you not do that.
Yeah, and there's many reasons why one may want to take a break from their homestead. Sometimes it's not by your own choice. For Carrie, she can kind of go in and explain. She had to take a long sabbatical from the homestead, and maybe she can tell you a little bit why we haven't made a video in a few, and we welcome her back.
Thanks, Dougie. So yeah, I had to take a break. I'm not going to go into great detail, but just to give you a general overall, I had a phone call from my brother in September. Our mom, who was in her 80s, early 80s, was sick, and she was getting sick pretty quick, and he needed me to come up to where she was, which was Washington State, and I took some time and went up to take care of her. My mom has been super healthy. I was going to try not to cry, but anyway, I went up and it didn't go the way we were hoping it would go. I was able to care for her for a while, and it was just her time. So anyway, I lost my mom in October, and because it wasn't expected, it kind of sent my brother and I into this situation where we had to take care of everything. She was still working full-time as a psychologist, and shoot, I really didn't want to cry. Anyway, so she had a business that she was still running, and taking care of a home. She was single. She was a widow and had been single since I was in high school when my father passed away. So Brian and I were kind of the sole survivors of that situation, and we had to go in and clean her house out and get it ready to sell and close her business, and she had 2 offices, so it was a lot. And so I ended up being up in Washington for almost 3 months, and we got everything pretty much finalized. I came back down just because I needed to get back to work and get back to helping Doug while he was keeping things afloat down here, and then we flew back up for my mom's celebration of life, because that's really what it was. So flew back up, got everything packed up that we were bringing back down here, we drove the moving truck down. It was about a week process, and so, but with that, we really started thinking a lot about, like, okay, we should talk with people about life happens. Like, I didn't want to leave Doug by himself and managing everything. It was a lot on him. You know, you all know we have animals and stuff, and so anyway, all that being said, we started thinking more about just life comes at you, and you have to pivot and be able to manage it, even when you're homesteading. Like, you can't just, you know, you can't just stop caring for your animals. There's still things that have to happen here. So, and this time really helped me reflect on the fact that we probably need to play a little bit more than we do. It was really an eye-opener for me that, you know, man, you just never know. Like, life comes at you. That's why we're here, is because we know life is short and things happen, and we don't want to wait until we're older to do this. Anyway, so it worked out actually pretty well. I know it was a lot on Doug to be managing everything by himself and with no warning. Like, I literally flew out like within a few days of my brother calling me. I just had to go, and I'm really, really thankful that I did, because it was really precious time that I had with my mom before she went home to be with the Lord. So that was a blessing for me. So anyway, we definitely, it worked out really well when we went back up, because we were driving a moving truck from Washington State all the way down here to southeast Arizona. I didn't want to drive the truck by myself in the winter. And I knew there was a few passes that we had to go over, and I just didn't want to do that trip by myself. I really wanted Doug to be at the memorial. It was really important to me. So we had to make arrangements for somebody to care for our animals, and we realized like how important it is that we have community around us, and even just one other person that lives near you. It doesn't have to be a gigantic group. It can just be a few neighbors or a few people that you know that live close by to help out. And we ended up hiring one of our neighbors' teenage daughters, and they kind of helped her too to make sure everything was getting done. And it was great. We were only gone for I think 7 or 10 days, but they were great, and they came over and we had things in place and everything set up for them. So that worked out really, really well.
Yeah, so this video is going to basically show you how you can escape your homestead and give you some ideas of how you may be able to do that. It's more than just being able to walk away. It's about the affordability of it. Mm-hmm. It's about keeping your animals healthy, your plants watered. There's a lot of things involved when you escape from your homestead that you need to be aware of, and that's kind of what we're going to be going through in this video. And in the B-roll, you'll be seeing us working on some of this cob work back here, and hope you enjoy it. Homesteaders in the past, they had their family. It was usually a small knit family, and very tight and pretty private, probably, I imagine. They'd travel out west, they'd claim their land, they'd start working on it. There was no way they could ever leave that. There was many reasons why they could never leave their property. You had robbers, you had cowboys, you had Native Americans. Everybody wanted to take your homestead from you back then if you were away. So it was pretty much impossible. Yeah. But nowadays, in our time and age, basically all that becomes a myth. It becomes we have a different reality than they had back then. Transportation, we can travel across the country in 4 or 5 days by car, or you could take a plane. But the myth that you cannot ever leave your homestead or your off-grid property or your bug out location is complete fallacy. You can leave. Yeah. You just have to make the certain preparations and make sure that you're not telling anybody you're leaving. Yeah. You notice we left. She left for 2 months. You didn't even know it, except for little rumors I was spitting out here and there. And then when I left for 10 days, you guys never even knew I left either. But that's the right way of doing it. But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
It's really important that you don't announce that you're going to be gone. I mean, that's just not just for homesteading, but for anybody. Like, you don't want to leave your house and be like, oh, I'm out of town for a month, and people know where you live. So that's just like common sense, I think. But anyway, like don't announce, you don't want to announce it. Just tell people that you trust and have them keep an eye on things for you. Yeah, I think there's some ideas that we've been kicking around and talking about, because homesteading, a lot of us that are out here are really doing it on a shoestring, and so we don't have a lot of money for traveling. We don't really have any money for traveling. So, oh, there's our dog. This is our Willow dog. She's a good girl. You have to think about things that you can do that either don't cost anything or are very inexpensive to do. So Doug and I could really use a vacation. Like that's something, you know, me being gone, I wouldn't consider that a vacation in any way, shape, or form. But we could really use a vacation. We haven't really had a vacation now for it's been almost 3 years since we had a real vacation. And that's something that we should probably think about doing sometime soon. I don't know, sometime in the next year. But there's things you can do that are free. Think about the things that you enjoy doing where you can like give your brain a break. Something that Doug and I really enjoy, and so does this girl right here, is hiking. We've always hiked. Doug has done actually some extensive overnight hiking. Through hiking, I guess is what you call that. He's hiked on the Colorado Trail. I've hiked on the Colorado Trail. We've done a lot of backpacking through the years, and I think we really enjoy that. We live in an area, you wouldn't think it by probably what you can see in this video, but we live in an area that there's several mountain ranges around us with beautiful, beautiful hiking with huge trees and lakes and rivers, believe it or not. And it's all within an hour's drive of us. It's actually pretty amazing what's available. So we've just started exploring, like, where can we go that's close that we can go for the day when we both have a day off, which is kind of rare right now, where we can go and do some hiking. It's free. It's great for the dogs. We get to see other things other than our homestead. So that's one idea, is hiking. There's other things that you can do. Some people might enjoy fishing, or hunting is also a big draw around here. There's actually some really cool historical places, ghost towns, and museums and national parks that we want to take advantage of and check out.
What kind of things could keep you from leaving? The number one thing I can think about is financial reasons. You might be like us and barely making it, and when you do have money, it has to go to the gas so you can get to work and back. So finances is definitely a reality. Another thing is maybe you've accumulated way too many farm animals, which in our case, I don't think we're at that point yet, but I could see where it could get really rough trying to leave this place if we had a large amount of animals, too much for a caretaker that we hire to come in and actually manage it. You know?
Another thing that ties in with the financial piece is your job, obviously. So Doug and I both work as 1099 contractors. We're not employees. I work from home, and so I actually can take my job with me, so it makes it a little easier. Doug cannot work from home for his job, so it means him taking time off and planning that in advance. And when you're working, as you know, as a contractor, you're not getting paid vacation like you would as an employee. So that's a factor. When he's going to take a week or two off work, it means he's not getting a paycheck for those few weeks. So that's a big one.
Yeah, because now that we've had the 3 months with Carrie not working, and me, I was working, but that covers our bills. But it also put us behind. So now we're going to be playing catch up. So remember that if you are living paycheck to paycheck and you have to go off for an emergency or something, you are going to come back to the reality that maybe you're going to be having to play catch up on your bills. And it's not going to be easy, guys. Some of it might be easy for you. You might be in different circumstances than us. But we're just giving you that reality check of our lives.
Little chilly. So let's show you something. Alright, so as I promised, we put fencing. Any kind of fencing can be used. You can use stucco fencing, chicken wire, whatever you want to. I use just old scrap fencing, and I stapled it to the pallets. This is technically part 5 to the paddock series, but now we are starting to mud all this. We're cobbing it. We're going to cover the entire pallet with cob, and in order to do this, I needed to fill the voids with junk bottles and cans and whatever you have. Otherwise, you're going to be using an extraordinary amount of cob to fill this. So this kind of takes care of that problem, reduces our workload by half probably, and we are basically just cobbing the facade of these pallets. We can do this in winter. I've seen people have shrinkage issues, but we haven't had any of that. I believe it's because we have a high ratio of sand and straw in our cob mix, and it's kind of holding it together. But yeah, this is not gonna be as easy as one would suspect. It's a lot of surface area, a lot of cubic feet surface areas to cover, probably the equivalent of the chicken tower. So we're gonna cob all this. It might take 3 weeks to cob all these surface areas because we got to do the front and the back, and then warmer weather will come around and we will lime over top of that. But don't think that this is the last video on cobbing. We just wanted to give you a sneak preview of the cob work and show you that we're not covering the gabions, we're kind of doing the gaps in between. And I plan on, when we do on plaster, I'm going to do some reliefs, some embossment with lime to put some imagery on these 2 front ones here. Probably some chickens and some goats or something like that. Or maybe our 2 Great Pyrenees, I'll put one here and one here. I don't know yet. That's the fun part, and we aren't to the fun part yet.
I would also, just going back to the social media piece, especially if you guys have YouTube channels or Facebook, Instagram, whatever, just be careful what you're posting on there. Like, don't announce to people that you're leaving your homestead. A lot of people that are homesteading have a lot of valuable stuff laying around, tools and things that you're using to build your homestead. Tools are a prime thing for somebody to want to steal and go sell at a pawn shop or make a quick buck off of. So don't leave yourself vulnerable.
Right, and we here on Facebook, we get the local Facebook page around here. We hear about it all the time. People in random cars coming up people's driveways looking for stuff, and some of them come from out of state. That's how far they're coming to come steal your stuff.
Yeah.
So just remember that. They're watching social media too, so if you're sitting there in your great bikini on the beach somewhere, just remember your homestead is vulnerable during that time. They're like, oh look, he's sitting there in a Speedo on the beach in France, and
yeah, he probably has some great stuff. They've probably seen it in your videos.
Yep, they're not home. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that it happens all the time. It definitely happens. It's definitely a thing, like it would be anywhere. I mean, it's like that.
Right.
You know, we're vulnerable to crime out here, just like you would be in any city. So, another step that you can do to kind of mitigate that, if you're going to be leaving your homestead for a day or an extended period of time, is have some cameras set up. You can set up, they've got great cameras on that you can buy that are motion sensor that record at night. Some of them people would never even know that you had them. They're very incognito. We've done that. We've set things up so that we can keep an eye on things and make sure, if there's motion and somebody's sneaking around here at night, we're going to catch it on camera, and then we can alert the authorities so they can come and take care of it. So,
right, and make sure that you're keeping your gates locked, and whoever your caretaker is making sure that they're keeping the gates locked. Don't leave out things that are valuable to you. Keep it locked up.
Yep. Keep it locked up.
If it's and especially things like tools. If you got crowbars laying around and you have shovels and pickaxes, that's an easy tool for them to break into anything you got locked up. So just remember that. Keep your homestead clean and make sure that your homesteader babysitter is keeping everything clean too and keeping an eye out for you.
Yep.
Yeah, oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful eucalyptus. Look. There's a big eucalyptus right there. That sucker. Pretty. Favorite trees. I love the bark.
So let's talk about actually obtaining a caretaker and some of those chores that you might allocate to them, and how are you going to compensate them? Is it going to be through barter? Is it going to be trading time to watch their homestead when they're gone?
Yep.
So let's go into those details.
So there's some details that you're going to want to think about when you leave your homestead, especially if you have animals. Not everybody has animals. Homesteading doesn't necessarily mean you do, but we do. So what we did was when we found our caregiver for caretaker for while we were gone, we had them come over a couple times and went through our routine. We have a daily routine for all of our animals, and ours is actually really simple, and since Doug started building the corridor area of our paddock, it's even gotten more simple. So it's really, for our animals, it's maybe 20 minutes in the morning, maybe about the same in the evening. It's really quick and easy. So we just had this person that was caretaking for us come over, and we ran through the routine a couple times. I also made, I just wrote down kind of a procedural kind of document thing that I just wrote up for them and laid everything out step by step by step, even though I'm sure they got it when we ran through the thing, but I just wanted everything written down. We have 4 different areas where animals are getting water, and I wanted to make sure, because we're dry out here where we're at, and I wanted to make sure the water was especially always filled. So I just wrote down, real specifics about where the water was and what to fill it with. Because again, we're off grid, so we have cisterns is where we get our water from. So we needed to detail that out.
Yeah.
Push forward. That's lime.
Probably from the roots of that tree.
That's lime. That's exactly what we're doing on our house.
Yeah.
Versus it been burned. They didn't point it. Yeah, we had the list, and then it was their idea, the caretaker's idea, to actually film us while we were doing the chores so that they could go back and reference it on film.
That was smart.
On video, so they knew, oh yeah, they were feeding the chickens at this time, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But Carrie went and labeled all of our garbage cans that each one has a different type of food in it. So she kind of did a Sharpie thing on top of each one of the buckets to make it easier for the caretaker to know what food to feed them and what was running low, so they could text us and we would send them money to buy more food.
Yeah, there was a few times that the food ran out or was close to running out, and we could have planned that better, but we didn't have enough time to plan. So we just would Venmo them money, and they would pick it up when they were getting, when they were at the grocery store or whatever. There was like a episode of the cat food, I think, running out. So just things like that. Just have an idea, have a plan, have some sort of idea how you're going to manage
You're
that.
trying to make it easy for them.
Wait, a snowman in Arizona? So it isn't so. He's melting.
You're trying to make it easy for them so that they'll return and do it again. You don't want it to be a total nightmare where they're having to walk 3 blocks that direction to feed the chickens and 4 blocks that way to feed the goats. And we were just trying to make their life easy, and in turn it was giving us better ideas of how we could manage this area better too, to make it quicker and easier because we don't want to be doing that all day and exerting energy when we could be working on the house or something
Yeah.
like that. But
Yeah.
hopefully those are some good ideas, I guess. If you decide that you want to take a vacation or a break from burnout, try to get yourself with your community, try to make friends with your neighbors, and try to make an exchange. Like, we actually are exchanging time for instead of compensating with money. So when they decide to take a vacation, we'll in turn go watch their house and feed their animals twice a day and do what needs to be done.
We actually did compensation. I don't know. We actually did compensation, but in the future we'll probably do swapping because it's a neighbor that is close by and we totally trust them, and we'll probably do that in the future. But yeah, and you know what? We need your feedback, so we need ideas. So could you guys do us a favor and first of all like the video, because that it helps us a lot, and if you like it, and then second of all, if you could go down in the comment section down below and give us some ideas of some things that are either free or very inexpensive to do that Doug and I can do so that we can play a little bit more and not work. Well, we still want to work hard, but some ideas that you could have for us, because we're going to try to get away from the homestead at least once every other week, I think is what we decided, for a day, or at least half a day. So give us some suggestions. We would love your ideas.
Right, guys, so it is possible for you to be able to escape your homestead once in a while. Don't think that when you come out here you're grounded forever. Even though it's a beautiful place to be grounded. I mean, if I was forced to stay on 40 acres for the rest of my life, I'd probably be okay with that.
Yeah.
But us being city slickers from the past, we're accustomed to taking time off and going seeing places and stuff like that. And sometimes emergencies do arise. And you need to have a plan for that, guys. You need to know what you're going to do if you have to go into surgery or something like that, or what have you.
Yep.
You need to have a plan in case it happens tomorrow,
Yep.
right? Make sure you're writing down notes and getting a hold of your local friends and that, and figure out how you're going to manage this property with a caretaker, or if you're just going to wing it and throw a big pile of dog food on the ground and hope that they survive during that week that you're gone. I don't know how you're going to do it, but hopefully some of the ideas that we gave you are valid in your mind.
Yeah.
And until next time.
Bye.
Adios.